Hello everybody, and welcome to our review of the Vince Staples album, FM exclamation point. My name is HSR.
My name is Chris Chrome.
This is part 2 of the episode 100 of the Headspace podcast. Is it episode 101? Yep. No, it's part 2 of episode 100. That's what's up. Anyway, it's also the 31st day of my birth. That's happening today, even though it was yesterday based on when you're seeing this episode come out. I digress. That's totally fine. If you don't want to hear any of the jibber jabber in the description of this video, you can click and you can skip ahead. I'm a little bit sick. We're here reviewing some albums. We're just regular people going through these albums track by track, sharing our thoughts, sharing our opinions, whatever was significant, whatever we wanted to talk about on each and every one of them. And we want this to be a little bit of a conversation, so you can all feel free to comment below. Since this is part 2 and last week's episode already got its favorite comment on last week, you can check that on the episode that came out yesterday when we spoke about The Currency, the freaking Freddie Gibbs, the freaking Alchemist album, Fetty. So we did that yesterday. Sorry, today. I mean, for us, it was like just
did that
before.
like an hour ago.
Anyway, that's what's up. It's already rendering. We're on to the next one. We're recording this today. If you hear vibrations and noises, we have some very loud, awful neighbors who have the worst laugh in the world. Do you have a neighbor who's ever had the worst laugh? It was like, ha, 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 ha. No bullshit. It was like literally like pounding on shit. Like it's the funny, like, fuck off, man. I'm never that loud in my apartment alone. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because it was annoying me. So moving along, we like to go through it. Just a bit quick shout out to our patrons, Adele Williams, Ismail Gadamsi, Super Old School 1994, and Chris Prado. And so I think without further ado, we can get into talking about this week's album. So Chris, why don't you introduce it again, even though we already said it?
So
yeah,
for this week's Headspace album review, we're going with Vince Staples, FM exclamation mark.
That's right. So it's almost like Fuck My Life, but it's different because it's Fuck My exclamation mark. I don't know.
I think he's trying to represent radio. First, let's contextualize how we know Vince Staples.
We reviewed him last year.
Yeah, we met him on Big Fish Theory.
We did that album review. Maybe it pops up here if I was good with the editing or uploading. So other than that, I don't know shit all about Vince Staples except that he's pretty decent in terms of sound. It was some next level shit on Big Fish Theory in terms of being different and interesting to listen to. So I suppose that's all of my expectations going into this, was that the sound was going to be out there, different, and like something interesting to listen to.
I watched some interviews with him. I watched the Joe Budden pull-up interview. I watched his Breakfast Club morning interviews. I like Vince Staples. He's a very well-rounded type of person. I find that he's trying to deliver certain messages that he wants to push forward. He is kind of got this old school type of hip-hop feel to himself as well. So I was really interested to see, I was actually surprised that he dropped an album. I wasn't even following it. I didn't even realize it was coming out. So I was really excited to go into this album because I like Big Fish Theory. I like everything that Vince Staples that I know so far.
Isn't he on the Black Panther album too with that Op song?
Probably.
I might be wrong. I think that was him. Same kind of weird sound.
He could have been there on one track. Oh, well, he's on... We met him on...
we never met him, Chris.
Well, we first encountered him on
the
Gorillaz album, the first track of the Gorillaz album.
Yeah, maybe. So he's been around. I like how he's got that different sound. That's all I'm trying to say.
Right.
Rather than waste your time with superfluous fluff, why don't we discuss the title and this interesting cover? You can comment on the radio thing, but the cover itself is like this cartoony thing where it's got like FM exclamation mark in big pink letters, like a cartoon. But it looks like while everyone's having a great old time on the beach and everything's cool, a giant tidal wave is about to come and fuck shit up. Which I think is maybe a little bit the point of what he's trying to convey with this album, is that even though things look happy and nice, things can get kind of fucked up. And maybe you're right about the radio with the censorship, because it is kind of censoring it a little bit.
I kind of took it as like the radio wave is coming back, or
Maybe.
As a sense of like he's
I see what
starting
you
the
mean.
new radio wave. Like he's causing the new radio wave. Like it's no longer. I mean, like I know this is so minimal, but people are swearing on the radio now. People are like songs are not censored anymore. Like not super censored anymore. I mean, the bad, grotesque songs, they probably change the world
I think
or whatever.
it depends on what time of day and what your station
Right.
you are.
But, like, ever since I've noticed that radio's starting to change. So maybe I kind of took it as, like, well, I mean, you figure they're on the beach. You know, everything is kind of seem like everybody's having a good old party. I don't really think that the waves are kind of attacking the beach. I think it's just kind of like the FM is kind of coming out of the water, like arising or whatnot. It looks kind of more like that.
Maybe.
I like, actually, I didn't realize I liked how Jesus was black. That's cool. At the top.
I didn't notice
That's
that
cool.
either.
I like how the LAPD helicopter has two pigs driving it. Pigs, cops, that's jokes. But he's also from Long Beach, so hence the beach. I feel like he's also putting on his city on the map, and he's got a lot of things that he wants to kind of bring forward.
In light of the radio feel of the album, the FM as radio makes total sense. It's an interesting thing because it does kind of instantly think "Fuck My Life" when you look at that title because of what it is.
Well, that's what I got first until I realized that the L wasn't an L.
Well, I mean, I knew it wasn't an L, but even though I know it's not an L, I still can't help but think it. Either way, it's a pretty cool cover. It's a pretty interesting title. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot more to say about that. So, does it still feel like summer this November 3rd, even though you're seeing this on the 4th? So yesterday I was listening to Vince Staples while I was playing Octopath Traveler, and I realized I wanted to dance. This album makes me want to move. Like there's just something about these beats that are just so like you just want to get up and get your little jiggy on.
There's a little bit of a groove to it, and that's what I was saying a little bit about. Like he's got this old school feel. Like you can actually dance to a lot of his music. I'm not saying you can't dance to the newer music of today, but I feel like just the dancing aspect.
This makes me want to like pretend I can break dance.
Right, like this actually has certain like you can really do certain things. You're not just kind of like in one spot doing whatever the fuck dances there are today. I like how Vince Staples really kind of alludes to the radio again. Like right away, they're switching channels. You got people chit-chatter in the background. You've got...
But it's like specifically kind of playing up on Big Boy's Neighborhood, which as I understand is a local to his local radio syndicate. Like I know the radio show. I've seen the dude. He does a lot of interviews that pop up as I go around and look at stuff. So I know, because at first I thought it was like Big Boy from fucking Outkast. Sometime like when I first saw the name Big Boy on like YouTube like a year ago, and then I realized it was this dude, and apparently he's like a legend down there. So in a sense, this is like the radio syndication that he probably listened to, and this was probably what home sounds like to him. So he's just almost
well, he's also got, like, because he does talk about his home life in a lot of the interviews I've watched. Vince Staples is very about, like, South California.
Yeah, Cali, whatever,
right?
Long Beach.
Anyway, he is a lot about like his area where he is. We get a lot of through this album, and we'll get into it, that he's very loyal to a lot of people in his area, and a lot of people like But yeah, anyway, it just comes in with that like radio beginning part where it's kind of sets the context of the song, where it feels like summer in the neighborhood, but it always feels like summer. And then, you know, the intro part plays in, and it kind of makes it feel like, again, this album's an experience. It's like a radio show special is this album or EP or whatever it is. And then it instantly kicks into this nice beat where it makes you kind of wish it was summer. It's not. It's November. Montreal's about to get real bad for 6 months. However, the hour goes back tonight, so extra hour of sleep. Woot! Anyway, that he starts rapping, and simultaneously, it feels like this is the summertime. It's greasy. It's easy. Everybody's having a good time. But at the same time, somebody's going to die, is the feel that I get when he raps. Both of those things at the exact same time. Like summertime and the LB Wild, we go and party till the sun or the guns come out. Yeah.
Like, you don't even get like 2 lines in before you get fun and danger mixed in, all things considered. And that is the overall, I feel, tone of this album. So while it always feels like summer, while it always feels good, then you can also consider statistics like in the summertime more crime is committed because it's warm out, and winter is really a detractor of crime. And yeah, basically it kind of flows them like that. Then you have Dolla coming in on the chorus, which I thought was cool because Dolla actually sounds really fucking great here, and he really accents and compliments. He actually starts accenting some lines at the end of the first verse, but he's not featured on Spotify, at least. I don't know if any
features are on Spotify.
I don't know if any of y'all got disc copies, if there's any like features on it, but like, yo, where the features at? It's kind of whack. Like almost every song has a feature, and he didn't bother to put them there. Still, that's fine. I can get past that. Dolla sounds pretty great, you know. And then verse 2 is just kind of like following like suit with Vince coming in, like scared money don't make money, white man want take from me, white fans at the Coachella, never been touched, no better, same way since summer school baby. And you kind of get the sense that he's politically and socially aware. He's trying to get his money. He's trying to make his shit. He's not afraid to make moves. And I feel like you get all of these things out of these little lines. So he's playing the game with the Coachella. He knows what he's got to do to get his paper trail. He understands that the systematic racism and all that crap in terms of that line with the white man trying to take from him. People from the streets or whatever seem to respect him and don't want to fuck with him because he seems to be protected or whatnot based on the next line. And that's pretty cool that he's able to eloquently deliver all of those points by saying so very little. And that I thought was fun. Anyway, rolls on through, and you just get the sense that he's got his shit on point, and he is absolutely ready to go. So the first verse kind of sets up the world that he's from. The second verse kind of shows that he's a boss in a sense in this world. He's a little more like powerful feeling than I think like the last project. Like he's a little more in his shit, and I kind of dig that. Either way, the song felt like a good vibe. Ends with another little radio skit. I give it a 4.25. Really cool start.
I like his determination. One line he goes, "Little Johnny gave his life for this shit. All he got was a plot and a bottle from the Winco. Still Northside, Parkside. Vince stole 2 twins, new friends. We skipped those." I like how he's giving like he's making the sacrifices needed to achieve the goals. He seems really determined. He seems like he's on I guess the right path that he seems to be on. And that's what I got from the first verse. Second verse, I kind of got that he's a line that stood out to me was still struggle with the past. I'm strapped. Somebody got to watch my back. Everybody want to count my bag. And it seems like there's things that he may have been around associated with or whatnot that's got him kind of paranoid, and he's got to still stay protected. But it seems like he's also kind of doing this in an informative way. He's not trying to like boast about it or like kind of be like, I'm Mr. Tough Shit. I feel like he's trying to educate people like these are certain things that you live with given certain results in a way.
He himself is not of a certain life. He's just around that world so much, and he's almost like you almost get the sense that he's reporting on the experiences of others in the same vein as what rappers from the West Coast did, like a guy like Ice Cube, who wasn't necessarily a gangbanger but was able to take the voice of the streets and give it words. Right. And I kind of feel like he has that same kind of appeal to him, and I feel like his flow and the way he raps is just this fucking distinct experience where you just know it's him the second you hear his voice. Other people don't sound like him. Other people don't have beats like him. And it just sounds fresh as fuck. And I appreciate that.
Absolutely. I gave the song a 4.
All right, let's move on then. And I like how the radio shit, it kind of ends by saying, and being that it feels like summer, let's do this, man. Let's go outside.
He gon' blame his mind, no capping. Park gangsters back then. And my uncle
yeah, this song kind of follows through with that like fun ass fucking flow, fun ass fucking beat sounds. Like it just kind of feels like Vince Staples. I don't know if that makes any sense, but even the last album it felt like Vince Staples.
Well, no,
like,
it
nobody
follows
else
up on
does that like dot kind of flow, like the way he bounces. Like I'm certain there's other people who do it, but in like this era of hip hop, I can't think of anybody else that kind of sounds like that.
It feels like he's really expanding the box. Like he's really trying to reach out there and find different types of sounds that people might enjoy, and it's really working.
And even though you have like this juxtaposition of like this fun, bouncy, you just want to dance to it music, the idea of summertime and partying and the radio kind of hyping stuff up is good. Meanwhile, broad day, I'm round your way, SK, come out, let's play. Now I know an SK is a gun. That means that, like, right there, broad daylight, he's out there with the gun, ready to go, ready to pop. And you're like, okay, that's a serious fucking start to the song. And then, I don't know, it just kind of seems really, like, intense. He's just laying it down, his local scenario, describing a little bit of the violence and the severity of what him and his people will do in that moment, you know? And then the chorus kind of alludes to, like, what side are you claiming? Who are you really with, you know? And are you actually going to go out there and live that life? This is what real shit is. Are you really about that? He's kind of questioning is what I feel.
But I also kind of took it as, like, which side, like, are you the shooter or the victim, like, in terms of drive-bys? Like, are you on the left side or the right side?
I took it more like left flag, right flag.
Well, I got that as well. Like, that is a thing. But I took it as, like, what side of the fence are you on in terms of this hostile environment? Because, like, you know, he's chilling at Uncle Phil's place with a Mac-10. He calls out the fact that, like, you know, Draco, that's a young gun. Pull the tray 5.7. Watch you young run. I'm out here on Johnny's head. You lacking. It's like, it feels like he's also kind of questioning certain people who kind of run their mouths talking like they're big shit, and he's out here like, look, I actually know these things. Like, I'm not saying I'm associated or I got the, you know, the tray 5 on me, but it's like, I could get one. I could do this. I have this ability. Like, are you, like, what side are you really on when things start to pop off, when bullets start to spray? Where are you going to be at?
It's more almost maybe criticizing the way people claim a bunch of shit in hip-hop in general. And he's kind of going, all right, I mean, y'all say a bunch of stuff, but I see a bunch of stuff. And he's just kind of throwing it out there. That's kind of what I felt like. It's like a throwing it out there vibe.
Right.
But still, the beat is excellent. Like,
yes.
I just found myself intoxicated with the beat, the overall sound, with the ridiculous way
still
that
makes
he's
you want to
rhyming it.
move. And I like how they connected both songs. I like how it's like you got this like party vibe in the first one. It's summer, they're kind of chilling, blah blah blah, and then they move outside, and it's like you got this entire different type of environment when you're outside, because he didn't seem as like savage on the first track. There was a part of like, you know, don't fuck with me, I'll fuck you up type. But he also kind of gave this other, like, yeah, I'm kind of balling, having a good time, whatever, enjoying the time, then enjoying the summer. This track felt more like outside, we're going to run up on you, this is what my hood's like. It's more gangster, like, it's more gangster feel. So I like how, in terms of changing the scenario of like, the actual place of the location of where the song's taking place, it's cool that he went with that as well. It was pretty a creative way to...
Yeah, no, it's pretty dope. I mean, for me, I give this a 4.5. The overall sound of it, the way he raps on it, the vibe that it creates, man. I mean, he could literally be rapping out the recipe to make chicken soup, and I think it would sound just as ridiculous. And that's what I think is truly incredible. While he's spitting some real shit, and really pertinent to where he comes from especially, he manages to do it in a way that's just so flossy. I like it a lot. I don't know, what'd you give it?
Give it a 4.2.
Anyway, we then flow into the next one. Sorry, when I said most of them have features, I lied. This one, well, I didn't lie. Most of them do. This is one of the examples of a song that doesn't have a feature. The next one features J-Rock, and it's called Don't Get Chipped.
Watch me mind my business while I'm counting my dough. Stay away from bitches who will clown.
Sounds like verse 1 has Vince doing a little bit of a Kendrick thing. He's a little bit higher pitched, a little bit of that younger kid voice.
Yep.
And it's like Vince dreaming of getting big. Like, can't wait till I'm rich. I'm finna buy a whole crate of guns. Form around 90 Crip shit. I really came from the slums.
But that really shows his loyalty to like the Crips there.
But it's also like back when he was young, he was around these people, he's just dreaming big. Like, can't wait to be able to get rich and supply guns to the squad and shit.
Right.
Which is definitely not something I've considered. I can't say I heard a lot of people like rhyme like that. So it kind of was like, that's an interesting perspective. Like, your first thought of getting big, it's not to buy bling, it's to buy some guns to supply the squad. That's interesting to me, at least. It's
Well, I mean, if you also think about it, like it's
But
not
you're right,
just a
and a
supply.
loyal-
There's also protection. Like these are his family. Like
Right.
he's grown up in an area where his brothers, his family
it's
members, his
like,
friends have been killed,
whereas
murdered, and
other
whatever.
dudes might want to go out there and buy chains.
No, I agree with that. I
He's
agree
being
with
a lot
that.
more practical by purchasing firearms.
I'm just extending the point to the other side. Of
But yeah, and it's some serious loyalty. It's the first thought he's thinking. Anyway, time to represent. Let me see you bang. Where you from? Don't be acting spook. I'm a troop. I don't give a fuck. And I kind of like that. He's like, I know where I'm at. I'm cool with who I am. I'm putting you to the test. Let me see what you represent. Let me see what you're about.
Right.
The kind of intensity as he flows through it. And I feel like, anyway, you got that youth in that first verse as he's trying to like project it. And then you got the pre-chorus, whatever flows on through. And then you got the chorus that comes through with J-Rock. I ain't on that medication. It's only money that I'm chasing. That's all. Represent my location. Don't get chipped. Don't get chipped. So I got this sense that he's almost saying, like, I'm sober. I'm focused. I'm not, like, getting fucked up and faded like everyone else, etc. I know what my grind is. And then it flows into, like, verse 2, where now Vince kind of has achieved a lot more, and he is a lot more set up.
It's like that acknowledgement that he's starting to blow up and his name isn't, he's a face and a name now is really starting to affect him.
But I like the angle he took just to start off the verse. Like, everybody say it's lonely at the top. I want my homies at the top.
Yeah.
My little homie, he got shot, and now I'm moving my lonely with the 40 and the mop. So it's like, instead of it being like, oh, I got betrayed or whatever, like you might normally hear, it's, well, I wanted to take my dude up, but now he's dead. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And you feel like this pain in him, you know, and the way he's kind of spitting that. I just...
Well, because I feel like he's doing it for everyone else. Like, I think I get a sense that Vince Staples knows he can rap and has achieved certain things for himself personally, but now he's also feeding and trying to work super hard to feed the family, the friends, the city, and everyone that made him who he is, or that he feels like, you know, helped him through his journey. And the fact that his friend got popped is like,
yeah, no.
you know, it kind of gives him that energy to want to keep going forward, keep moving to give more than what he can, you know?
Yeah, and he just, I don't know. I get the sense that I like he's like, he took his mom out the hood. He started kind of like, you know, is in a different place with his life, is I guess what the overall sense of the second verse. But it still doesn't feel like everyone else, you know? Started yelling out regrets, so I shot in the crowd. Pow, you a fan? I'm the man. It's a difference. And I kind of like that as he's presenting that he understands the dynamic has changed between people. He is over here in this state of life. Everyone else is over there. He understands the new rules and stuff. And then he flosses a bit with like, stop pretending. You know you feel it. Record deal, but I did it independent. If I peel somebody, go on missing. And that's pretty interesting to make the distinction. He admits he has a record deal, which is cool, but that he was able to establish his career independent. So yeah, he has the deal, but he didn't need it. He got the deal because it helps. I mean, if you are able to get to a point where you're able to, because there's two types of deals. There's the 360 bad deals, and then there's the deals where you retain control, but they really just want your name and shit. Anyway, so if you have a good deal, it's not necessarily a bad thing. I just thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty like an interesting perspective-changing song. I like the beat. I like the chorus. I like the overall flow of it. I give it a 4.25.
I like the energy on this. I feel that J-Rock and Vince Staples do really well together. I'm interested to see what would it be like if J-Rock had a verse instead of just the chorus and like kind of like the post choruses and hooks. Because I like their difference in tones. I like their difference in styles of how they kind of control the track. So that was really cool. I also wrote down the everybody say it's lonely at the top. I want my homies at the top. That homie got shot. I also took down that line because I feel like it is cool to see what he's really working for and what he's trying to accomplish for other people and not kind of be this like selfish type of person. So that's awesome. I gave this a 4.2. I thought it was really cool. The instrumental was really on point. It wasn't like overlapping anybody's voice or not. It was good.
I feel like so far this album has like a consistency in the same way the one we just talked about had a consistency to it. I feel like this is a project you could like throw on at like a party type environment and vibe to, but you could also like throw it on in a car and vibe to it, and
Right.
it gives you that kind of pensive, I want to think about the music kind of vibe, but it also gives you the opportunity to just kind of dance and let loose for a quick minute, and I think it does that very well. Anyway, the next song is called Relay.
Hit the counter, do a relay. Do you really want to?
I'm not gonna lie, the actual contents of this song, there's definitely a lot of this that went over my head, but the overall sound of a song, pretty fucking next level. I don't know what it is about that, the way he delivers that chorus, like Fed chirp, button scanner, like it just sounds so fucking fly. He has that kind of voice where he doesn't necessarily have to sing, but he has a singiness to the way he delivers his lines that makes his voice sound fucking cool and fucking fun to listen to. Got blurb with the hammer, yeah, and playing with the DA, finna hit the corner, do a relay. I mean, you get the gist that this is some criminal activity type shit going on, you know.
I took it more as the environment. The first verse has your like generic type of watch out for these guys, watch out for these type of people. There's a line where he goes, she's so pretty in the face, ass titties and the waist, pull up trying to get a taste and she get you popped. So you kind of get like this sense that, you know, even there's some women in the area that are kind of shady. They're really just out there for the money and the guap. They're on the criminal activity as well.
Well, I guess what I was trying to allude to is that it's a matter of being like careful out there, because there's so many ways to get clipped. But you gotta go out there anyway and do your shit.
Of course. The second verse, though, from what I understand, is kind of more of like a story, where, from what I get,
there's a chick who went to university. Right. Her baby daddy's got clipped for a GTA, so Grand Theft Auto, you know. And then I didn't know what really GTL was. I looked it up and I couldn't figure it out much. Something like gym, something laundry, which I kind of took it like if you're in jail, those are the only
gym,
things.
tan laundry.
Yeah, I didn't really understand how that fit. Maybe
so the only reason why I know what gym tan laundry is from Jersey Shore. They used to scream that out in on the season.
I don't really understand if it has another purpose.
Well, what else do you do in jail? There's a gym. You go outside where you tan and you do your fucking laundry.
I guess. I mean,
so I think it's like he's just kind of playing on like what could happen in jail if he were to go.
And then it just kind of presents what the girl's choices are, I suppose.
Well, also the dude's choices if he doesn't mess up, if he doesn't kind of smarten up, because he'll have to raise the kid from jail. I feel like the second verse is supposed to be more of like a story type to give you an insight of like, these are certain things that happen in my area. These are certain
the ladies getting all educated, dudes getting locked up.
Right.
I don't know. And if you look at just university rates, women are going to school at a much higher rate than men are these days, or at least graduating at a higher rate. So females in general are becoming more educated. I don't know. I felt like this song had like a swag to it. Like you just wanted to vibe, and I didn't really care as much again what it's about. I can't necessarily relate to the environment that he comes from, so a lot of the overall tone of what he's saying isn't as impactful to me as maybe it is to you. But how he raps blows my mind. His flow blows my mind. His voice blows my mind. The beat blows my mind. The overall structure of this, super fucking cool. This one also did not have any features on it, and I gave it a 4.75. I think it's like 2 minutes. It's a 2-minute song. It's fucking proper. Ends with the little phone number of the radio station calling in, reminding you that we're actually part of this big boy radio show that we're supposed to be listening to. You know, that it's all local, that it's all part of like what he grew up with in terms of what hip-hop is. So I thought that was fucking cool. And yeah, then it flows into a little commercial for the new Earl Sweatshirt Interlude.
Earl Sweatshirt on Big Boy's Neighborhood.
It's a lot of Chris. Apropos.
So this one, it comes in and hypes up that there's going to be a little new Earl Sweatshirt on the Big Boy radio show. And then Earl Sweatshirt raps a little verse, does his little thing, and then it ends. And it's like 23 seconds, and it's kind of just the new Earl Sweatshirt, because I guess it's his newest verse. It's true. I thought it was really swell. I thought it was 4.25. I mean, the Earl verse was solid for what it was. I thought it was legit. It comes in really proper. Sounds like a guy kind of off the topping it over at a radio station, which is a good vibe. It sounds authentic. It adds like to the ambiance of the album. showcases Earl, and I thought it was cool. It was just unexpected for me. I wasn't expecting to actually be Earl Sweatshirt, but there he was. And yeah, so I give it a 4.25. As far as skits go, I'm totally down for that. That's a cool use of a skit.
I give it a 3.5. I found it to be interesting. I found it to be creative, but I didn't quite understand it. I didn't really get like what the actual connection was to the album. Maybe, I guess if you're looking at it like a radio show, maybe it was just a commercial.
It is a commercial.
Right. But like, I don't know. It just wasn't like...
I feel like it's like the album is supposed to be, like you said, the FM. It's like the radio show. So this is kind of part of what you would expect in the radio show. The commercials, the little extra things to cut it up a bit, you know? I liked how that artistically came off. So you don't have to like it. It's totally fine. Anyway, this is Run the Bands.
I'm not the one. I'm not the one.
Juicy. Juicy J is here running the bands along with Vince. Again, another non-credited feature on this album. But yeah, Juicy's here.
I think you take that a little personally because it's Juicy.
It's not that. I'm like, I wouldn't have realized actually in a couple of cases if it wasn't for the Genius website that there were some features here. Like I might not have clicked that that's Juicy. But
you barely, like, I didn't even, like...
He's really just going run the bands.
I know he is, and his voice is in the background, but it's, like, barely even there.
It's not the most obvious feature, but it's, like, if you're going to have these people on your thing... Now, like, I kind of get, like, on the Ape Shit song, why Quavo and stuff wasn't necessarily featured. They really just did ad-libs. I still think they should have been, but I kind of get it. I just think people are sometimes really weird about features. Like, if you're going to have other people on your album, put them in the damn features. Like, I don't know, it's like you didn't want your album to look like it had a bunch of features. Like, I just don't understand the logic of it. Anyway, if y'all have thoughts on that, let me know in the comments. But this song is cool. Lyrically, I'm feeling the same kind of way. I don't know that I care about what the song's about so much, but listening to them rap is amazing. That beat is fucking good. This is like, I just picture myself, like I want to go to a party now, having been this far into the album. Like I feel like I gotta go out now and get some dance on. I like the line, I'm the man, my girl's the real Roxanne, because that's some like authentic shit, right? Like the real Roxanne is one of the Roxanne Shante diss tracks that came out during the Roxanne Wars, back when everybody had a Roxanne coming around, and this became like all female rappers for a period in the 80s. So that was really interesting to me. Overall, the flow's proper. He rhymes like he does, and it's good. I don't have a lot more to really add. There wasn't like a lot to comment on it for me, just due to the references all seem normal. Everything seemed kind of standard. I did like that we don't do no Axel Foley's. Ran from the cops, but the cops get shot now. We don't do no Axel Foley's. I kind of dug that because it made me think of Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, that's the point. I don't know if it's just implying that none of them become black cops, if that's the point of it. Either way, it's totally cool. I had a song 4.5 because I love the sound. I could just for this is one of those albums I could just throw on and listen to and not really care at all about what's being said in terms of just how good the rhyming and the flow is over the beat.
I think that he's coming at it from like a journalistic perspective, and he's not like, there is probably some personality in here, in terms of don't fuck with his money. You know, if you tell him you're gonna pay him for a show, pay him. If you owe him cash, just kind of like, keep business as usual. And I think that's the point of the song. It's that Vince Staples is a very business oriented person. He understands that money runs certain things. He just wants everything to go as planned. But I think he's also kind of having this gangsterish feel to it, as per the people that may surround him in his area. Whether it's criminal activity, illegal, or stuff, he's just still kind of keeping the consistent message throughout the song of run the bands up, make sure it's there, and we can just keep business as it is. Very consistent with what we've gotten so far. It's a nice way to come back in through that little break that we got, the interlude, in terms of having this kind of like not too like super serious type track, but this very like hype track, kind of generic a little bit in terms of what would usually come after a commercial on the radio. So that was kind of cool how they're kind of still keeping the theme. Well, I gave it a 4.2.
That's fine. Yeah, I think it's cool. Anyway, let's move on to the next track, which is called "Fun" with an exclamation mark.
Don't wanna fuck up none, and we don't give a fuck about none. We just wanna have fun. We don't wanna
This time, the non-featured credit is for E40, who has such a fun voice.
But he barely even has a verse.
Yeah, but he has a whole like bridge thing, man.
Yeah.
Mac a bitch down, Mac a bitch down.
Mac a bitch down, Mac a bitch down.
But it's like a significant chunk of the song, even if it's not like a whole great like full verse.
Right.
It's a significant enough of the song that like if it was anyone else's album, he would have been featured.
Right.
That's all I'm trying to say. But yeah, the gist of this one is they want to have fun. That's all they want to do. They're not here for no drama. They don't want to fuck shit up. They just want to have a good time. And it's got a great beat. It's got a great flow. It's got, the same kind of overall sound that we've become accustomed to. That party vibe, that serious party vibe. I'm going to call it that serious party vibe that Vince Staples has.
But I think the reason for the track is to kind of take away the stigma behind a lot of the acts that may be surrounded in this area. So let's take smoking, drinking, and wild partying, right? Like, I think there's a certain type of stigma around that in terms of bad acts that are happening. It's only certain type of people that type of do this. And Vince Staples is kind of just here like, look, we just want to chill. Like, we're not trying to rob a bank. We're not trying to plot. We're not trying to, run up on your neighbors or whatnot. We're just trying to have a good time. Like, just play some music, enjoy yourselves, and live life, Like, there seems to be this type of desire to want to be free a little bit on this track.
Like, also be about that money and to make that shit. What I thought was super interesting is there's We Broke, We Know Sitch, or He Broke, We Know Sitch. And apparently this is because he was surrounded by Crips. And Crips don't like to use B words and Bloods don't like to use C words, which is something I learned today. So it's actually meaning bitch, but because you're a Crip, you can't say the B word. You got to say sitch. You got to flip it up a little bit. I thought that was super interesting, in case y'all didn't know that.
Actually, I kind of remember that off the...
Either way, this is novel to me.
What's his
But in general, yeah, you got the sense that they want to show up, have a good time, be kind of wild out, live as they want to live, make their money, get out, do their thing, mac on girls, and have a great time. The overall flow of this song is proper. It's another one consistent on this project, and I give it a 4.5. If you've liked everything else so far, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't like this one too.
Absolutely. This song, for me, though, got a 3.5.
What?
3.6.
It's a fucking good song, dude.
It's a good song.
Well, you just said it's okay, whatever.
It's a good song. I just don't really care for E40's verse or part. I didn't really care for it. I didn't really think it had that much substance.
I just think the way his voice is like blah 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 blah. It's
and
so
I
fun.
and I appreciate that, but there's more to a song for me than just your voice. Like, there has to be something. And I felt like I can respect that he had fun with it and whatnot, but just for me, like, this isn't something that's like making my list. Like, this isn't something I'm gonna directly go for and be like, yo, you should listen to this. Like, hey, yo, check out this track. But nah, there's other songs on here that I'd be like, you should listen to this.
I don't see how it's any different than Juicy's part in the last verse or any of the other ones. Personally, I think it's pretty fucking great. That's my opinion. Anyway, let's move on to No Bleedin'.
Head on the swivel, no bleeding me. Head on the swivel, no bleeding me. Bleed.
I mean, I have no idea what the fuck this song's about. I think it's if you fuck around, you'll bleed, so you shouldn't fuck around, so there's no bleeding. That's
the chorus goes, head on the swivel, no bleed in me. And the only time I've heard head on the swivel was from the J-Rock album when he made that song that
I
had
heard
to do
it was
with...
also on the Snoop Dogg album that we covered like way back. Anyway.
You covered.
No, we did it with Damon. It was that new Snoop Dogg album from like last year. Way back. Anyway, 2017. Snoop Dogg. Early. It was like, head on a swivel. A swivel. Or some shit like that.
Well, that too. I mean, Snoop Dogg is from Long Beach and everything, so I'm pretty, like, I would assume there have some type of inspiration and connection, right?
Yeah, anyway.
But I kind of took it as that. I thought he was paying homage to J-Rock because J-Rock was on the album a little bit earlier. I thought maybe he was taking some inspiration from that track and kind of just being like, I've got my head on a swivel. I'm looking both sides. I'm looking both ways. You can't fuck with me. You can't hurt me because I'm always on alert. I'm always ready to go. I'm always ready to switch up.
Yeah, because people who fuck around bleed, so don't fuck around so you don't bleed. Anyway, that's what I took from this. Kamaiyah is on this. Does fine. I don't really get the bars in it. I'm just going to say I like the way the song is rapped. It sounds good. The beat sounds on par with the rest of the album, but it went over my head, and I don't want to spend too much time sounding stupid trying to analyze it. So I gave it a 4.25 over the fact that it's a consistently good sound, but I didn't get it, so that's cool.
Give it a 4.
All right, next up, we have the brand new Tyga interlude. Tyga, for real?
Boys Neighborhood, make sure you keep it locked. We got that brand new Tyga on the way.
If I saw Tyga had a new album out and it was the only album out that week, and there was no other album out in existence, I would rather not review the album. Like, I don't like Tyga.
I'd bump the album. I don't think I'd review it.
I mean, even this little clip here still kind of sounds like Rack City a little bit to me.
So what I think of the clip and what I think the intention is after a lot of, heavy lyrical tracks or some like music or whatnot, before you get it, because I think this track also falls into the next song, the way that it flows, right? So in a way, I feel like he might, because there was also like talk that Vince Staples and Tyga used to work together, so maybe he's like promoting him or helping him out or whatever.
That's fine.
But I feel like I took it as kind of like using Tyga as a troll, like to kind of hype up the next track. So you get Tyga, he's a generic, everybody kind of bumps to him. Oh, yeah, cool. And then we run into the next track, which happens to be
a radio skit,
but it's the radio skit of where they have the guy and we'll just fucking.
But no, but like for real, it really is Tyga, and it really just feels like Tyga. Do you guys like Tyga? Do you like Vince Staples fans like Tyga? Is Tyga cool? I mean, I'm from Montreal.
I like Tyga.
I don't know anybody but Chris who likes Tyga.
Whoa, I like Tyga before, like Well Done 2, Well Done 3.
Back when he was like a Drake clone.
Yeah, I guess so. Like when younger me liked
Rack
Tyga,
City, bitch.
but now
Rack City, bitch.
Now I don't
20s
follow.
on the titties, bitch. That's all I can really know.
After Well Done 3, I was over. I was like, all right, we're done.
To me, they all just sounded the same, and he just sounded funny and goofy. That's cool. I just thought his sound was in the past. I'm just surprised that his sound is coming. Anyway.
Well, I mean,
look, it's fine. It's fine.
I gave it a 3.8.
I gave it a 4 because it fit the theme of the album, and it all made sense in the context of the album. But I could not care less about Tyga. Anyway, dial up 562-453-9382 for a skit.
Oh.
Hello,
Who's
big
this?
boy.
Who's in the
This is
neighborhood?
Christian.
Christian. What city you calling from, Christian?
Dude's trying to win tickets or whatever, calls up the radio and has to come up with 7 things in 7 seconds. Famous people that starts with the letter V. He basically says, Venus Williams, and then stutters for a while. And they're like, it must be tweaking. And that's like the whole fucking skit, and it sets up the next song. I gave this a 4. I feel like it fits the theme of the album. It's probably something that's whatever. Listening to it, it just sounded goofy. I mean, the first time I was like, okay, that's interesting. But these the Tyga skit, it happens so fast that the next thing you know, you're in the next song. So I could have lived without this personally, but it's fine for this little project. It feels radio-y.
I gave it a 3.5. I think over for the project, yes, I agree that it's good. But I think individually there's nothing really here. This isn't something that I'm not gonna listen to this, I'd skip it. But I think there's some type of some type of concept that's supposed to be here on a personal level for him to have to do these.
Maybe it's like a regular segment on the Big Boy Playground show.
Like it could be. I think Big Boy is like his main show, right? Like something that he may have grew up listening to. So I think this is part of him being more open with his fans and more open with the audience and being like, let me take you through a hour of my radio listenings. Let me take you through my.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He's kind of just being super personal with the audience.
That's fine. It says tweaking at the end, which guess what the next song is?
Batmobile, black, no chrome, yeah. When Jabari died, was off the porch for homicide.
Alright, so this one has Kehlani on the hook, another person who's featured who wasn't credited in the features.
Well, you also got a hint of Kehlani in one of the tracks earlier at the end of the song. They're like, "Oh, listen in to win tickets to Kehlani's new concert."
That was the tickets in the last one previously, the previous skit.
No, there was one before in the album. There's like a hint, like listen to later for the number to call in.
Still, I mean, I'm not saying that he's hiding the fact that these people are on it. I just find it weird that they weren't featured.
Fair enough.
And Buddy does the little intro bit. This is for the ones.
And his name's actually Buddy. He's just not being like this dude.
No, it's Buddy. This is for the ones. Never had none. Never been brought. Live by the gun. Die by the gun. Rifle son. Grind for the ghost. World for my girl. Rise for the hog. Slide for the cross. Ride for the cross. 90-year dome. Just such a powerful start, you know? It's kind of like death-ridden gun imagery. Like, this is the reality that they're from and shit. This is who it's for. People who can understand these words, these mantras. And then Vince comes in and just kind of lays it out again, you know. Work hard in the wild. Bounty found. Never checks. Never count. I suggest you pout. I'm going to send this. Get blessed by the God. Don't get clapped on. So he kind of sounds a little bossish. He's sending people out. He's handling his shit. Same kind of stuff that, like, I feel like he's presented himself as. But now it's more bleaker, more real sounding. Like, this one doesn't feel like a party. This one just feels like a grim reality. Like, everything else flows into this moment of grim acceptance for the situation.
Well,
like, because there's a little bit of death here. Like, when Jabari died, was off the porches for homicide. Then when Hefe died, I bought some things to pass the guys. But when Johnny died, all I had was shows booked, down to burning in hell. I don't care how my soul look. So you kind of get the sense that it's changed. The environment has changed him, and he's using his music to cope, and this is what's going on, and everything's kind of crazy and shit, but he's still kind of to cope. You know, when he's tweaking, it's like emotionally off of the environment.
Like he's tweaking to try to numb the pain. He's trying to find a way to hide what's happening inside of him so he can deal with it.
And it's making him react in a certain way. And, you know, and then second verse kind of has him reflecting like they've come a certain way, but it's still kind of painful, still kind of emotional, gone through all this stuff. Even though the money's there's still the scars and the damage that comes through it. Like, bunch of people go and use the shit, might as well go and get used to it, trying to get rich, get everybody fed, but everybody dead, which is, again, something we saw earlier on the album when he's like, it's only at the top. I wanted to bring dude with me, but he's dead. And, like, that grim likeness, it's just bleak. It's just heavy sounding, and it's, like, it's an interesting way to end the album. Like, it starts off on, like, summertime, but there's violence, to I'm fucking winning, but everybody's dead. And that's a pretty powerful thing. Overall, I kind of dig it. I gave this one a 4.25. I don't like the beat as much. I feel like the beat's a little calmer, and I kind of was digging the vibe of the other beats, but I get the point of it, and I like the song for where it is on this album, and it's a really great track, all things considered.
I like the personalization behind the other track. I like how he's taken us kind of through this day in a life with him and certain things that he kind of does. And at the end of it, he gets kind of like personal about it and kind of just tells us like, yeah, I also deal with problems. And then like from what you've heard throughout the album and the different experiences, like these are things that still haunt me to this day. And it was super cool to kind of wrap up the album like that. It was a really cool way to do that.
And then it specifically closes on Big Boy kind of talking about, yeah, and that's Tweakin from Vince Staples. So it's almost like really the proof of how far he's come is that Big Boy is playing his album, you know, like what he came up with listening to, and now his album is the source of this thing, and I thought that was pretty cool.
Right, absolutely. I gave this song a 4.
So yeah, I guess that's the end of the project. To wrap it up, I gave this album a 4.318. A lot of the beats are really fun and interesting to listen to. Like, there's a lot of great sounds on here. The way he flows on these different sounding beats comes off really unique, really fresh. His lyrics have this jaded juxtaposition of success and pain, where there's a lot of darkness painting out the reality. Like, he's surrounded by a lot of darker things, and he's projecting his vision onto the world, and it's not a happy one, and there's some real shit to talk about, and he wants to make sure that the real things get talked about. But at the same time, music is supposed to be fun, and he manages to spin out this fun vibe to most of the songs. The way it culminates through as this radio show experience, and it keeps that theme, it makes it a really unique and interesting package. So I really like this album, and I would recommend it to people depending on the kind of hip-hop you like. I wouldn't say this is for the people who like the old school lyrical 90s stuff, but as far as new age rap, to have something to contrast, let's say, the more trap sounds, I would say this is a cool alternative to fuck with.
Absolutely. My grade came up to a 3.89. The thing that really hit the album for me the most was just the skits. I don't really particularly care for them that much. They weren't as interesting as I think he may have wanted them to be. I get the fact of. Well, that's the thing.
They're not
I get
interesting
the fact
to you.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, I get the fact that part of the album, it's a radio thing. It's a whole kind of setup, which is fantastic, and it's very creative. For me, it's not. I was like, okay, I can deal without these. But overall, I mean, I really enjoy the sound. I really enjoy Vince Staples' energy. I really enjoy how he kind of brings to life the old school type of sound with this modern wave that's happening. And he's got these different ranges in terms of the beat selections and stuff. Everything so far, the two projects we've done so far, I'm not disappointed.
Yeah. So that's it. This is, I guess, the end of part 2. Part 1 was, as we said earlier, Currency, Freddie Gibbs, and The Alchemist doing their Fetty album. It was 9 songs. It was 22 minutes. The reason we're doing more than one is because, as you might have noticed, we've just finished 11 songs over here with Vince Staples with FM!. It's 11 songs, 22 minutes. These are very short albums. So we figured we'd go ahead and do this, which might have been enough for some of y'all. But tomorrow, we're going to have part 3 coming. So yeah, you'll be able to check that out soon. Spoiler alert, it's Swizz Beatz Scorpion. Anyway.
Poison.
Poison. Oh, Scorpion was the Lil Wayne or Drake album is Scorpion. This is Poison. Poisons have Scorpion. Fuck, I'm a Scorpio. It's my birthday today. Scorpions are on my brain. Anyway. So thank y'all for watching. I totally appreciate it. Special thanks to our patrons, Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Prado, Super Old School 1994, and Linda Williams. They support us directly. They get to sway our opinion at least once a month in an album. Plus, if you join up at a certain tier, you get a free album request. We do it as soon as possible, whatever the fuck you want, even if it's your album. On top of that, yeah, if you don't want to do that, you can hit that subscribe button. You can smash that like if you want to do that type of shit. Or you can dislike and leave a comment about how obnoxious I am for saying smash that like. Whatever you want. I'll interact with you. I like the conversation. I answer every comment. So come chat with me. We can discuss music and all the good shit. Thanks. Catch y'all tomorrow with part 3. Peace. We're going to go record it now.